I'm Kathy Schaefer, and this is Parents Corner on AACPS TV. Each month we talk about a topic of interest to parents like us. This month we focus on students and writing skills. Whether it's a college application essay, a daily homework assignment, or a future office memo, students need to graduate high school and be prepared to write for some real-world situations. In fact, with the Common Core curriculum, writing skills are standardized across grade levels and include words like exploratory texts, opinion pieces, and relevant evidence. We spoke with author Jennifer Keats Curtis on how she helps students express themselves through writing and find their inner author inspirations. You do writing workshops in a student magazine. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
I do a lot of presentations where I have a chance and go in and talk to groups of kids, both about the writing process and about the animals about which I write. It's a great way to explain to kids that you don't get in a whole book in your head at one time and then just write it down once, that there is a whole process that goes with it. But I try to help them understand how exciting and fun it is to learn that information through the research and what you can gather through the research in order to write your stories. And when I'm really lucky, I get a chance to go in and do author residencies and writing workshops where I get to work with groups of kids over several days, sometimes a week, where we talk about the writing process. In particular, we tend to work on details. I also do work on a middle school magazine, an online middle school magazine called My Say, written by middle schoolers for middle schoolers. And in the past year, I've just worked with Central Middle School, the sixth graders there, and they are working on science and language arts combinations in order to come up with realistic fiction. Some of them came up with full fiction, as well as nonfiction, in order to express what they have learned in that STEM program and then to be able to have that published.
So what do you think are the benefits of creative writing for students today?
Part of the idea behind writing, at least for me, is a chance to learn that information and express it in different ways. It really helps you to learn about it. But especially for the creative writing, where you combine perhaps something that you've seen or learned with your imagination, it might help you to express your emotions or understand your emotions better, to see the world in a different way, and then perhaps to have a chance to share that with other kids or other adults so that they can help see things in a different way as well. I think it's really important to write in general.
You know, there's a lot of inspiration in nature. Where do you talk to students about finding their writing inspiration?
You can look anywhere to find inspiration. Nature certainly is a wonderful way to do that. If you are a kid who likes nature and you have perhaps a nature journal where you draw a picture or you write down some notes about what is exciting to you, and maybe at that time you're just writing down a couple of notes, but you sit on that for a couple of days and you start playing the what if game, and perhaps you see a frog and you think, I wonder why that frog was there. What if that frog was trying to talk to me? What if that frog wanted to be my friend? And you could come up with a creative expression that really started from that inspiration of just seeing one small frog in the wild. Absolutely. We have found with some of the teachers I've worked with in the past that giving kids their own journal and letting them decorate it and letting them write what they want when they want to, by all means give them prompts, give them ideas that they might want to write about, but don't stunt what they want to write about. And you know what, they might want to draw and they might want to write a poem or a song, and that's fine. It's just that they're getting those ideas out of their head and down onto paper is the most important part.
I'm sure you hear this from parents everywhere. My child just hates to write. Do you have any advice that you would give to parents who are saying that and feeling that about their kids?
Don't force it. I had a daughter who didn't want to read out loud. She only wanted to be read to. So perhaps you could write with your child. I'm sure they have ideas, but they may not want to do the writing themselves. The other thing that might help is to allow them to express themselves in another way. Maybe they like to take photographs. So maybe taking a photograph would help them, and then perhaps they want to write maybe a sentence about that. Maybe they would prefer to draw something, and that's fine. It will come, but I think if you force it, it ends up being something that you don't want to do because everybody wants you to do it. I do think that it does come, and I do think that passion is the key word. Once you have something that really engages them, then they are far more interested in writing about it, especially if they think there's something they can do about it.
So for students who do love to write, are there any resources you could suggest or anything you would say to them?
I hope they can find different ways to share, even if it's talking to their schools. Maybe there's something that they could publish for their school newsletter, or perhaps there's a writing group and they could get together and create their own books and donate them to the library. But any way that they can continue to write that will encourage them to continue that writing. And I think a lot of times with kids like that, sharing is very important to them as well. So if there's a way, even if there's like a reading group, so they have a chance to share what they have written with other students who are interested, with groups that can really appreciate what they've done.
So much of our school curriculum now is based on technology-based learning and science and math. Do you think that that's impacting the way that kids are writing? And or are there any ways to incorporate technology into spurring more reading and writing at school?
Boy, that's such a good question. I think it's great. I think that even for somebody like me who loves creative fiction as much as realistic fiction and nonfiction, you need that inkling to start your imagination in the first place. And I love looking for that kind of science information because I feel like it really gets the creative juices going. It's exciting. So a lot of the kids too, they have a chance to see that, and then whenever they get to add that to something that's hands-on, and then perhaps to express themselves, hopefully through writing, but through other ways as well, they really absorb that information. And having that technology at their fingertips, I mean, I don't know what I did before Google, but it really helps to have all of that information right at your hand and then be able to go back and think about it and write about it afterward. The one thing I would say is just to be careful is that you're not only relying on technology. I still think that observation is the key to some of the writing, and if you've got your face in your handheld device the whole time, you're missing a whole lot that's going on. So on the opposite side of that is just to be careful that you're not relying on it so much that you're not just using your senses in order to take in what is going on around you. And I still take notes. I write them down, and I have terrible handwriting. So when I'm done, I go back and I type it, but I find that I do not remember it as well if I just type it. And there's been a whole host of research recently about even people who are in a college class and they're typing versus taking notes, and comprehension is higher when you are writing with your hand versus typing. And perhaps some of the reason is because you type a lot faster than you can write. So you're not thinking so much about what's being said, you're just sort of taking it in verbatim. Whereas if you have to write it down, you have to synthesize what's being said, and then you're jotting your own notes as opposed to just verbatim all the time. So I do think that that is very important also.
So today's school culture seems like so much is performance-based. What advice could you give to students and parents that are working with students on writing about the process of writing and not so focused on the perfectionism of it or the final performance?
So when I teach the writing workshops, the first thing that we talk about is throwing up on paper, where you take all those ideas in your head and you throw them up and you get them all down, and you are supposed to make a mess because it's your mess and nobody else has to ever see it, but you're supposed to make a mess because you are not going to be able to use everything that comes out of your head in your final product. So then once you have that mess, you go back and you clean it up and you make those changes, and for some people it might take them 2 times, some people it might take 10 times. When I'm revising, I might do 40 revisions before I ever send that to the publisher, and then I know there's more revisions coming. We're not looking for perfection. And I think that's actually a bad choice of words with kids, because you will always go back and find something that you could have, would have, should have. But you just want to be able to express yourself clearly. And you're not going to be able to do that by trying to come up with something one time in your head and then getting it down. So I think permission to make a mess and then go back and clean it up as best you can might be a better way to explain that.
Where can parents purchase your books?
Actually, the books are available anywhere online. Amazon carries them, Barnes & Noble carry them, through the publishers as well, and they can always contact me if they have trouble finding those books.
Students at Hillsmere Elementary School in Annapolis recently demonstrated just how far writing can take you when they made a Guinness Book of World Records attempt for the largest creative writing lesson. 500 students in grades kindergarten through 5th write all year long through an in-school publishing company that resulted in their Guinness Book application being accepted. Recently, they gathered to write for the world record, and their pride was contagious. Let's take a look.
It was very exciting because hardly any schools get on Guinness Book of World Records, because you have to do you have to do a very big challenge to get on, get it in the book. I made sure I had all my ideas together. I worked really hard. I made sure I knew what I was supposed to do. And I made sure I had everything on the checklist and I had faith in myself. To me, breaking a world record means that you did something that a lot of people can't do, and people are impressed by you doing it.
I feel writing is really cool and it's fun and you can make a lot of stuff happen with writing. I feel that it's pretty cool to break a world record because you know that you're capable of doing more things.
Well, it came up originally because we have this very organic thing called the Hillsborough Publishing Company where our parents and kids are involved and they make books every week. And we just were making so many books, we thought, what if we kind of go for a world record? And we thought at first we could do it just by publishing books, but talking to the Guinness people, we found out it was just better just to go with one lesson at a time. And so we got everyone together. And here we are, going for the world record. Obviously, we want kids to have a positive attitude towards writing, and this is really kind of taking it to a whole new level. Kids are very passionate, excited, and they get to use their imaginations, and they get a lot of choice in what they do when they write, which is really good for kids as well. So we're very pleased to have this opportunity.
I'm Kathy Schaefer, and this was Parents Corner. Email us at parentscornertv@gmail.com with feedback or dates for upcoming events at your school. And like our Facebook page to stay up to date on show topics. Thanks for watching.
Coming this summer on Your Mark, Get Set, Read, sponsored by Anne Arundel County Public Library. All ages can sign up for the fun at any of our 15 library branches, online or even on your smartphone. You can sign up anytime between June 6th and August 13th. Why should you sign up? It's fun, it's educational, and we give prizes and rewards for reading. Why is reading over the summer important? Reading helps you retain the skills you learned during the school year and prevents summer slide. We have special performances at all of our branches: Joe Romano, the Blue Sky Puppet Theater, Marion's Dynamic Duo, the Bubble Lady, and Spencer Spinney Johnson. We have musical concerts at many of our branches: Magpie, the Gambrels and Annapolis School of Rock Band, the U.S. Army Field Band Clarinet Trio, the U.S. Navy Band Country Current, and the Army Band Federal Brass. There are special concerts at Marley Station Mall, Magpie, and at the Annapolis Town Center, the Milkshake Duo. Come in anytime and complete a scavenger hunt and win a prize. There will be a random drawing of all who register throughout the summer for tickets to Orioles games, the Maryland Science Center, and Medieval Times. Read or be read to each week from July 11th through August 13th and be rewarded each week with a different coupon. If you read or are read to each of the 5 weeks of summer reading, July 11th through August 13th, you will be entitled to a free book. Check out our website and come to the library branch of your choice to find out the details.
Hi, I'm Jody Rissy. When's the last time you watched Food for Thought? Make sure you tune in to AACPS TV and watch Food for Thought. I have so many guests on the show. We talk about partnerships here in Anne Arundel County as well as across the state. We talk about breakfast, lunch, even dinner, and our summer programs. Fruits and vegetables are always a topic. We want to make sure that you're having fruits and vegetables at home just like we have them here in school in Anne Arundel County. Make sure you keep watching AACPS TV and make sure you don't miss the next episode of Food for Thought.
I'm Corporal Gamble with the Anne Arundel County Police. When approaching a crosswalk, realize that pedestrians do have the right of way. Please allow them ample time to get to the other side of the roadway.